So there I was working in my office, which is just behind there. And I was called to come, get your shoes off, your trainers off, come and sit in the earth. Come and sit up against your grandfather tree. This is the grandfather tree, and it's also grandmother, all depending on what energy of the day it is. It's grandmother and grandfather. This is the biggest tree ever, and it's in my garden, and it is a space holder for all around this area and beyond, you know. And obviously for me, I mean, I took on this house that I live in purely because of this tree. Hadn't really seen the house, I just saw the tree and was like, we'll take it. But grounding for me, and I think for many of us, has been a very, very hard thing to do. So for example, if you are not grounded, okay, you're going to feel very overly emotional. If you're not grounded, you're going to feel sick all the time. If you're not grounded, you know, that's when you suffer your anxiety and everything like that, you know. If you're not grounded, you're not going, you may actually, if you're not grounded, that will show somebody who's quite clumsy. They'll trip over things and everything like that. So there's also that as well. And you know, also down to projects and creating things. You know, you can't birth something and land it if you're not grounded, because if you're floating above the earth, then it's never going to land. It's just going to circle the runway all the time, you know. So you know, my journey and my path, you know, it has really brought me to this place where when I first moved to Cape Town 7 years ago, you know, Gaia, the earth energy, kind of grabbed hold of me, and you know, and I remember feeling really sick for about 6 months, and I was so depressed. And I remember working with a dear sister shaman friend of mine, who is still my friend now, and she said to me, Gaia's got hold of you and she's not letting go, and the feeling that you feel, which is depression and all of these feelings, it's not depression. This is what grounded energy really feels like. And I remember thinking, whoa, because I've always been up in the stars, you know. I had drug addiction for about 8 to 10 years, you know, as a young person growing up, and I didn't want to land. I didn't want to be here, so I just made sure I was high all the time, and that's quite symbolic in itself, because I made sure I was high, meaning up in the stars, and I never had to land. And then of course I kicked the drug addiction because I awoke. I became very sort of like spiritually connected, and then I was able to kind of like move past those physical addictions. But even with my spiritual path, you know, I would prefer to be in the stars than down here on earth. Yet the real power and the real magic is when you are in your physical body and you are grounded into your physical vessel all the way into the earth, you know. So I'm sharing the process because, you know, this really, I mean, especially for us spiritual types who are meant to hold space for others and everything like that, you know, we can't do it unless we're fully anchored ourselves. And there isn't anybody that I know that doesn't struggle with this. So this is not a judgment at all. It's just one of those things. We've spent eons of experiencing really horrific things in past lives and things like that. And even in this life, who would want to come and land here? I mean, that's kind of what our spirit says, like, you know, forget that, you know what I mean? And we're just much safer to be up there and a quicker get out, you know what I mean? If we're not here, we can get out quicker. But you see, that's not where we're at now. So now everything needs to land. We really need to come into the physical realms. But even as a light worker, you know, I even struggled with that because I actually would hold space with 1 foot on the ground, not 2. And, you know, just recently I've been pulled right back into the earth once again. And, you know, again, through sickness, depression, and just feeling so tired, energy upgrades, that's how it feels. But actually what it is Gaia just pulling me down into a frequency that I haven't experienced for a very, very long time. So with the grounding, okay, the grounding, it's a process, okay, because basically I feel that, like, you know, especially with us as spiritual types and spiritual light workers, you know, I think the word, oh, we must ground, has kind of got a bit worn out. So it doesn't actually impact us any, and it doesn't land very well anymore because we've heard it so many times, you know. So yeah, when people say grounding, we do an eye roll and go, okay. But the honesty of it is your power is a half mast. Unless you can put it into the earth, then you got nothing, you know. And my guides kept saying to me, I remember a few weeks ago, they kept saying, if it ain't grounded, it's nothing. You know, you can do all the spiritual work you like, you can do all of the channeling and all the rest of it, but it's not grounded, doesn't mean shit. I'm sorry, but it doesn't. And I know that because I have worked tremendously hard to help as many people as possible all over the world to activate and ignite and all the rest of it. But I can only help them so far because my path stops when my path to grounding stops. So unless I can plug it in, then all of it is fruitless and pointless. Do you know what I mean? And that doesn't just go for me, that goes for all of us, you know? So coming into the earth is like so important for so many reasons. So I want to talk about this portal and bucket theory that I have, right? Now, my work, when I work with people, even people that have businesses and everything like that, you know, I work with people that want to connect to their channel. I work with people that, you know, want to create amazing businesses. I work with creators. It doesn't matter. Energy is energy is flow, right? So that means if you're flowing with energy, that means you're a portal. Why? Because a portal is a doorway, a gateway. You've got to go through it, right? It's got to go through, right? And if you can't go through it, then you're not birthing anything, which means nothing's going to come into fruition and nothing can land. You know, it's the birth process, right? So I have been, and I'm just using my experience now, I have actually been moving around and kind of like taking on energy, kind of missing the memo or reading the small print that a portal is to bring energy all the way through into the earth, not a bucket, which is what I've been doing, is catching energy and carrying it and catching energy. Now, look, cut myself some slack. We as humanity have got the biggest block, even if you're a guy, doesn't matter. We have a big divine feminine block, and it's sitting in our sacral and root chakras, okay? Which means there's no wonder we've not been able to land, because you bring all the energy all the way down and it gets stuck in that root chakra, sacral chakra part of the body, which the sacral chakra is all about creativity, divine feminine, masculine, divine masculine balance and flow, creativity. The root chakra is basically all about survival. It's about really, really plugging into the earth. So those two chakras, between whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter, they're pretty clogged, right? So of course we're trying to bring the energy in and through us, and then it gets stuck there, and then we might have a little bit of a drip tray idea going on, and that's not enough to ground us, and we're wondering why we're not moving forward in life. We're wondering why nobody's got the string to our helium balloon. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and we're floating off everywhere, you know. So this is there's been certain things that have happened to us in this life and past lives as to why we have this block, why we can't run the energy. So now you might find that if you are a version of this where you're catching energy, what can you experience? You can be very swollen in your weight for a start, you know, like really you feel like a blowfish. You feel very puffy and heavy because you're just taking energy on, you know. Your increased appetite, so your appetite will be all over the place, you know. And yeah, just basically just feeling very heavy in the body and rounded. Your body will be sore and everything like that. Basically the opposite to being in flow. Makes sense, right? So now, I mean, like, just sharing, like, all my life I felt unsupported, but I think I can say all of my lives I felt unsupported. I am surrounded by a beautiful family that loves me, and I adore them, okay? Husband, 2 kids. I have a ton of animals. I have like a million star sisters and brothers and people that I know that I've connected with, and there's a lot of loveliness in my life. Yet I feel so lonely all the time, you know? Well, I lie. I feel lonely some days, quite a few of the days, but some days I feel really lonely. Now, that is because I won't connect into the system of support. Now, I've been trying to kind of go and do that through human connections and everything like that, but that's as we know, it's not out there, it's in here. So the reason I think, this is what I feel, that my loneliness is so peaking and is probably one of the last things that haven't shifted or cleared properly yet. It will, just hasn't done yet. Is because I need to ground right into the root system of Gaia. Meaning, imagine, and let us all do this. Imagine you are a tree, okay? Imagine you are a big oak like this guy here, all right? And your roots go all the way down into the earth, and somewhere below the earth, you're like touching your little fingers with all the trees down there, and you're like linking fingers like that, and you're all joined up. And there's a whole conversation and a whole world that's going on beneath the earth where there is such support. Like I said, trees talk to other trees. You're feeling a bit sick, we'll send you energy. If there's a danger incoming, they'll tell the other guys down there, there's a fungus coming, it's not very nice, you know, whatever it might be. You know, I mean, even the Ho'oponopono prayer, you can do a Ho'oponopono prayer. You know what I mean? Anyway, those of you that know that prayer. And, you know, you can put your hands on the tree and you can actually say the Ho'oponopono prayer and tell them to retract their energy. So if somebody's going to be sawing or cutting, they can pull their energy back so it's not as painful, because trees have feelings, believe it or not. You know, so these beings are very, very powerful. You go to the redwood trees in California, which I really, really want to go to. They are huge. They are libraries. They're like the Akashic records. They're wisdom keepers, you know. So they are, you know, we all know on a surface level the trees are like badass and they've got a big thing going on and they're very important in our lives. But I think to understand yourself as also as a tree, you've got to get your roots into the earth. And when you start connecting into that support system that is beneath the earth on a very sort of like figurative level, energetically, you're going to understand the huge implications it's going to have on your energy field and your being here as a light body being, incarnate, meaning in a physical body. So what I'm saying is like from here on in, it's not about just running energy. We're going to be really mindful of conscious and actually pushing all the way through these blocks, and this divine feminine block that we've had down here, sacral and root, it is being cleared. How do I know this? When we clear for ourselves, which I'm doing big work on this, we clear for all. I put it into the grid and you also benefit from it. And somewhere along the line, you're probably doing some tree work as well, which you're also putting into the grid, and I'm going to benefit from it. So, you know, but that's what's going on. And I know a lot of my friends and a lot of people that I know are basically going through the same thing. So we're doing the same kind of work, you know. So I know that this block in humanity is going to be gone quite soon, which means we're all going to be able to flow into the root system. So what does that look like when you can finally do that? All right, well, physical ailments are going to disappear. Lower back issues, do you know what I mean? You know, any ailments down there, especially for women, you know, heavy periods, do you know what I mean? Any thrush cystitis, anything like that. Even for men, I mean, think about it, that could actually affect like prostate cancer. Who knows? Do you know what I mean? It's all down there, you know, all of those root chakra issues, because the root chakra is very much connected to the men's genitalia, and the sacral chakra is very much connected to the female genitalia. But either or, both very important about plugging into the earth. So on a physical level, things can change exponentially. And also as well, women and men not being able, cancer is all about not being able to nurture. So you need to be able to draw energy up from Mother Gaia. She's our mother. So we need to bring that energy up into our systems. And if we can't do that, then, you know, our systems fail. And I was watching something on Teal Swan the other day that she said, and I was like, amen to that. She said that she was talking about single parents. There shouldn't be single parents, because there should, you know, even back in the day of Atlantis, you know, you were selected as a sacred parent and another sacred parent if you were compatible, and if so, that you were able to bring a divine child through. But the purpose of the father was not to be a parent to the child. The purpose of the father was to nurture the mother, to love the mother and support the mother, to support the divine feminine, so she could feed her children, okay? And if she fed her children, all was well. So in a way, like, it's the reverse effect of Gaia. You know, we need to be supported, so we're looking for that support, and it's going to come from her. So she kind of like ultimately feeds us with love, we feed her with love, and then all is well. So there's a support system. So even down to the divine feminine and divine masculine balance, as in parents and children in physical form, that also plays out too. You know, it's a bit like the lions when they're hunting. You know, it's ultimately the females that go out and do the hunting, because the men are lying underneath the trees, just saying. But my point is they look after their babies. The men play a role as well. They support the mother while they go out and hunt, kind of vibe, whatever. But there is always like this kind of like divine support, infinite, you know, in and out between the divine feminine and masculine in everything that you look at. So, you know, in a way, like, that's kind of like us as beings. The divine balance is Gaia and us. We need to have that, you know. We need to have that infinity flow between us. So balance, 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 divine balance and divine flow and divine order. So when you are able to tap into that frequency and you really, really do get the flow going and everything like that, we've spoken about physical ailments. Think about business projects. Think about just, you know, those of you that channel and want to write books, think about the flow that's going to come through now. Now you're supported. Now all of a sudden you get a team of publishers around you because you supported energetically with Gaia, because you've tapped in and you've gone into your root system. So which means you're going to get people to support you with your accounts. You're going to get people to support you, you know, with all sorts of things for your business to flourish, because it's in the highest aspect. So that support is going to come in like around you as well. And, you know, of course we talk about friends and we talk about loved ones and everything like that. It all comes into balance. So I just wanted to share with you the importance of Gaia. And here we go, dogs are starting to run around me now, so they're probably going to knock my thing over here, so I'm going to sign off very soon. But from me and the grandfather tree, Little bit of a rhyme there. So much love and light to you. And yeah, just wanted to share that with you. Peace and grounding.